Hayatta iki şeye dikkat edeceksin. 1. Yolda giderken kavşaklara. 2. Yüzüne karşı gülüp arkandan iş çeviren.
Tarabi Turbo Carmen. Born July 3rd, 1988, two-time Survivor champion, one-time challenge champion, MMA fighter, and even dancer. The most respected and revered member in challenge history. For a time. Tarabi Carmen started his reality television career at the age of 25, entering the show Turkey's Got Talent in 2013, where he was a finalist. His career only soared as he was chosen to enter Survivor Turkey Season 8 in 2014, then again in Season 9 for All Stars in 2015. He won both back-to-back. Now, still reeling from his wins, he decides to enter Survivor once more for a third victory, but sadly removed due to injury, leaving him in 6th place. So close, yet so far. All wasn't lost, however, for when one Survivor door closes, a challenge door opens. He was then chosen for the cast of the Challenge Season 33 World Worlds 1, winter of 2018, where he intimidated by appearance alone as testified by the cast.
I'll wrestle you one-on-one, I don't care about anybody else in here.
I'll wrestle you one-on-one and I love you, mate.
Oh, that's not the problems you want. The only person in here that can maybe take these problems is him. Maybe.
Turbo will snap you in half, so don't even try and come at Turbo.
Turbo looks like he could stare at me for a good 30 seconds and my neck would break.
Turbo is by far the best male competitor in this game, hands down. I mean, you look at vets like Johnny, CT, Wes, they have nothing on Turbo. Turbo has won 2 seasons of Survivor. He almost won his 3rd season of Survivor, but he didn't because he broke his hand.
I don't think Turbo knows what any of us are saying or what's going on, but he looks pretty mean and I don't ever want to go against it.
I'm really mad at TJ right now for inviting this guy. It's like, Houston, we have a problem. Like, you're only supposed to cast people from like X on the Beach and Are You the One? Like, I need those type of people to compete with. Why are you bringing in real athletes? I would love to have Turbo as a partner. I would love to add to his game show winning streak. But I know if I'm not partnered with him, then we've got a problem.
Turbo reminds me of like a Russian KGB agent that's infiltrated the challenge and is spying. Although he's doing a terrible job because he essentially is sticking out like a sore thumb at this point.
May think that he's gonna put a target on his back because people consider him a threat, but me personally, I think that's a good thing. Because as much as people want you to go home, who's gonna go in and do it themselves, especially if they could, consider you a threat?
He was allowed to choose his partner for that season and decided on Nani Gonzalez, originally from the Real World Las Vegas in 2011, a veteran challenger of 7 seasons. He quickly grew attached to Nani, calling her mom, despite the fact that they are the same age, of course, in a joking fashion.
Woman is very important. We can die for woman. We can die for our sister, our mom. So I have to win challenge for Nani and make her proud of me.
The pair did well in their daily challenges, winning 4 times and staying safe throughout. And for someone who was very quiet, mostly because of the language barrier, he was very charismatic, or at the very least considered a very strong and scary competitor. For on the challenge program, he never once went into an elimination game ever in an attempt to remove him from the game. The only time he ever touched the elimination floor was to aid in another's elimination, actually going against his then partner Nani after the new rules of the game dissolved their partnership. Throughout the season, you only knew him as the guy who barely spoke, and when he did, it was broken English with a thick accent. It was only until Provoked that you got to see the real Turbo. The three players that can testify are the season's Hunter Barfield, Natalie Duran, and Dee Nguyen. In episode 11, we have Hunter Barfield, season 32's quote-unquote champion, along with the rest of the cast, all enjoying each other's company on boring South African nights. Barfield begins boasting about his skills and prowess and how he can defeat any and all competitors that he faces, focusing on Turbo as the real competition, should a fight or even a physical competition bear fruit in the future. At first, he gives Turbo respect, saying he would be a worthy opponent, but it goes south immediately when he returns to his egotistical rants.
What the I say Turbo easy, don't say nothing. Hunter cannot up no one.
It then goes from south to straight to hell as Turbo, at his boiling point, finally gets up and confronts Barfield. So close that physical competition just might happen. From the look in Barfield's eyes, from the footage, the fight that would have occurred would have went from south to hell to the very seventh circle of hell. We have another fight with Natalie Duran, who is an American Ninja Warrior favorite and actually the reason I even got into the challenge in the first place. She was partnered with Turbo on one of the daily challenges where the men were in jeopardy of going into an elimination and losing their share of $1 million. She was not in danger of losing that money, won the daily challenge securing their safety, but their friendship was scarred. Turbo showed heavy emotion, having been affected by Natalie's words, and while Natalie made multiple attempts to apologize, as far as he was concerned, the damage was done. While Duran did not suffer any consequences for their argument directly, her friend Dee Nguyen, who calls herself Defending Duran, ended up being the one to face Turbo's wrath by throwing her into elimination instead, and Nguyen losing out on that season's prize, and him going on to win the entire thing for himself.
I will never piss you off, Turbo.
What people give me always take back.
We get that.
This is my life.
While the two have claimed to have patched things up, especially by traveling to his country to meet his family, I don't understand that myself, the policy that Turbo seems to live by is a one-strike policy, especially when provoked, which is more of the time since he never talks or really bothers with anyone else. Everyone else except his first season partner, Nani Gonzalez, but we will come back to that in a moment. Back to his one-strike policy, and I really do mean one strike, we go to season 34, War of the Worlds 2. Where he makes his return and is actually chosen by Jordan Wisely, a known / respected / revered or / reviled cast member who selects him. The brand new one-time champion over CT, two-time champion, future five-time champion, and legend in this game to be on the American team versus the British counterparts. In episode 7 of that season, the very man who chose him, Wyatt. Normally, their behaviors would lead to an expulsion from the game, but the two being favorites, it was forgiven that one and only time.
Jordan, pussy chicken.
The two will make a temporary patch-up until later in the game, where in episode 9, Jordan, not as arrogant as he used to be, or at least learned from his mistakes back in season 25, Free Agents, tries to divert from that very issue. Given Turbo's aggression and the type of games that they do play, Turbo just might have been the one to defeat Wisely in an elimination. But we will never know. Since Turbo was removed for excessive force,
I decided to push the limits. As you all know, Turbo and Jordan already got into it once before. That was their first and only warning. Last night, Turbo displayed violence towards cast members and crew. There's no second warnings here. Therefore, he's gone.
We lost Turbo today, and that's our own team's fault.
Turbo was removed from the game movie deal back in his home country. His latest work, Hunter, the First Prodigy, ironic, it did its best at the box office, but to be fair, it was in the middle of the pandemic, so let's give him some credit. But back to the challenge. It's 2022, it's season 38, it's challenge Ride or Dies, and we have Turbo returning for his third season, bringing his mate, Tamara Alfaro, as his partner. Too bad she wasn't his muzzle, for on his third season he had shown a very detrimental and very exhausting, and I do mean very exhausting, attitude to nearly everyone on the cast, where in that season, one mere utterance towards him, and he would grit his teeth, puff his chest, and let it be known that he would rip the head off of anyone who had even considered trying to test him.
I was waiting behind you and asking drinks, and you tried to give everyone is to make the full. So can you share sometimes?
Yes, I can. Here, take my drink.
Yeah, it's not too late.
Not
too late.
Because I didn't know you were behind.
I was there and I was asking 3 times. Don't acting like an idiot now.
Well, either way, Turbo.
Yeah, either way.
I'm sorry, and I'm sorry you feel this way. You can pout on the front of the boat.
Yeah, don't acting like that now.
Think of all the fights with Hunter or Jordan, only this time it's him starting it. Also, at the rate that he was going, I would not have put it past him to bark at the host TJ Lavin. Thankfully, not the case. Back to his favorite competitor, Nani. She and her partner for the season, the famous/infamous Johnny Bananas, a 7-time champion, entered the show at a later time and won the daily challenge. While the pair are trying to figure out who they're going to put into elimination, Nani approaches Turbo, requesting and inquiring to see if Turbo would like to go into elimination. Turbo takes immediate offense to this and tries to walk away from Nani, but Nani continues with the Inquisition, leading to a big blowout between the two and an even bigger one in the deliberation, where they decide which team is going in, where he rudely walks away pre-conversation. With Turbo's toxic attitude, the decision was made easy for the Banani team, and they chose Turbo and Tamara to go against the star rookie team, Horacio and Olivia, in a puzzle elimination. Given the suffocation that is Turbo, select members, and even Nani included, helped the rookie team against Turbo. Nani, his then partner on World to World Saga, aided in the means of removing him from the game, and to much success for the rookie team, wins by a landslide. At the summation and reunion of the season, there's a dark aura every time that his name is even mentioned. But he left us with a very important message for the cast, and how he will return one day and take his revenge upon them all, Nani included.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I got 5 fingers, middle one for you, Devon. Oh, banana, I would slap you, but that would be animal abuse. Everything is getting expensive, except some people. They are getting cheaper. Like you, Nani. You guys proved that you're all pussy chickens. But I give you guarantee, I'm gonna take my revenge. If you didn't like this message, take a nap, get a car, and drive to hell.
Have a nice trip.
Now, as far as the challenge itself, I have grown to love and appreciate this show, especially for its politics. And the truth is, I understand why we love, or did love, Turbo so much. It is the fact that he showed that you can be a winner on these kind of cutthroat television shows, and I do mean and, not be a jerk about it. In this show, it's always the people who are socially or ethically the worst that always seems to win. Tiny Bananas may be a good person off the show, but in the show he is sickeningly cutthroat. As well so is Wes Bergman and Ashley Mitchell.
So Ashley, you either split the money with Hunter or keep the entire $1 million all to yourself.
This guy's belittled me, put me down. I'm keeping the money.
Cara Maria Sorbello. All of them came off relatively decent, but as the seasons progressed, low character traits began to seep out. Whereas people who seemed to be decent and straight up like Leroy Garrett or Davon Rogers always ended up getting the short end of the stick. Turbo was simply at peace and simply just playing quiet. Anytime that you've ever seen Turbo in such a condescending or antagonistic manner is always by someone else drawing first blood towards him instead of him being the aggressor. Since martial arts teaches you respect, you think that he knows how to be respectful. But then come the year 2022, the year of toxic masculinity, and we all know what I'm talking about. And just like that, we have a very uncomfortable situation where everyone's favorite challenger is ready to challenge everyone over the most simplistic of things. Not being given a drink of champagne, not being joked at.
It's a real dagger. Turbo, don't get any ideas. Daggers stay in the zone.
What do you mean, brother? Hey, what do you mean?
What do you mean? I was
Can
kidding.
you explain me?
Yes, it's just a joke. Cause you're good at
What is this joke?
Cause you're good at martial arts. I apologize.
Good.
Not talking to anyone with any kind of respect whatsoever, possibly not even Tamara. And with that, it goes without saying that Turbo's attitude towards everyone there on his latest season went very, very unappreciated and very disappointing season for him. But the following questions must be going through everyone's mind. How did someone so peaceful and respectful, at least until 2019, go 3 years later and turn, well, into this? And with that in mind, I'm going to go over some theories about why he is turning into such a toxic Turbo, or a better slogan would be Toxic Narcissistic Turbo, TNT. Let's look at the facts. Every other person who is on the show is a wannabe actor without the connections or the success. Just because the lot is lucky, or a few it does not change the fact that some of them can at least ad-lib. How do I mean? Well, to reference, let's take a look at the fight between Natalie Duran, aka Ninja, versus Turbo. Now, given the context of the entire situation, Natalie had no business losing her mind the way that she did. There was completely no reason for her to flip out because as much as she wants to do her best, she was not in danger of going into elimination, and she was just picking a fight with a grown man who could actually bench press her. Also, I did some digging, and it turns out that she tried to pull a little acting stunt with Wong Fu Productions, where they're at a rock climbing wall, and she just happened to be in that, well, acting.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Lois. You enjoying the view?
Yeah, it's nice.
And as all reality TV has shown, everyone in it is a ham.
I'm allowed to yell to the ether that I'm upset.
Okay, this is also unrespectful, okay?
Oh my God.
This acting is not good, Ninja, okay?
Oh.
Building on my premise, this girl has a degree in neuroscience, and she has the brains, courage, foolishness to pick on a man who you know could hurt you simply because what? Also, I have been checking on reviews of her being on the challenge from the comments, and I see that I have found that they are not necessarily good. And truth be told, she was not that popular. While she may be the reason why I started watching the challenge, because I love my Ninja Warrior show, that did not enhance the entertainment value for many of the other longer watching previous viewers. So from that, I would say that she purposely started that fight as a matter of trying to stay relevant, if not for the fact that she wanted to be on TV more than anything and get some attention and possibly go on to the next season. Which she did, because if you look carefully, despite the fact that she had probably the most rowdy, rambunctious partner, and his drama with another castmate was the main focus, the reality is Duran was dry as paint. Was she one of the best competitors we've ever seen? Yes. Was she entertaining to watch? Arguable, debatable, inconsequential. Which leads me to my second theory. After Turbo's epic win, everyone is excited and wishes him back for another season, which is where he met the infamous Jordan Wisely. The man who has to be good at everything. The man who could do everything with one arm that we could all do with 5. The two meet. The two work together on the very same team. And Jordan Wisely, in all of his condescending bravado, explains why Turbo is not the best challenger there ever was. Viewers believe it's by jealousy of the challenger, also believe by toxicity, but all the same, it's a loaded question. With the two having a falling out on both episode 7 and episode 9 of that season, that loaded question got heavier and heavier. We would have had an answer to that question if Jordan agreed to the proposition of Turbos and actually went on the elimination floor. Jordan, learning from his mistakes from season 25, and understanding that there is no redemption house like in Dirty 30, does not give a direct answer and tries to see his way out of it, and fails miserably as he continuously mocks Turbo. But let's also remember, people, like Ninja, Jordan is a wannabe actor.
They talk like you're some big hero.
To help him reach his big break back in his home country. Because keep in mind, while Turbo may have enjoyed being the champion for War of the Worlds, being a repeat champion is not guaranteed. And more importantly, this is not his career path. Keep in mind that when the reunion rolled by in season 34, he had a movie deal. He had a chance to be in a movie, and anyone working in that field will let you know how hard it is to get into that business and how easy it is to get out. He had to capitalize on this. So, here's the situation. A, stay in Thailand and hang out with a bunch of backhanded SOBs who will use you and also betray you in a heartbeat as a means of getting their first title win and their share of $1 million. A very share that you already have the lion's share of in your very first year of the challenge, winning first place. Or B, go home and work on your career and build your life after the challenge, which is an eventuality for all of them. And more importantly, work towards your dream career, which is one of the only one of your only shots in the first place, which leads me to reason number 3.
He's doing great, having a wonderful time. He met a girl. He got married. He says he's not coming back.
In my research, I found in the review shows of the War of the World 2 seasons, in the first episode, the infamous Bear mentioned that Turbo did not wish to return.
When I see the reinforcements turn up for the first time, pretty surprised because Turbo actually told me he weren't coming back.
Me too.
And then what he did was he's trained, he come back.
There were no statements or clarifications on why, but if we look at the timeline, everything makes sense. He started his whole career as a stuntman, going on to win reality show after reality show. He makes it in America. Then his career finally takes off, But in order to get Aldo when and upset in previous episodes, he knew how to walk away. Granted, given the violence, they have to show resolve and show that will not be tolerated, but given Camilla Nakagawa, letting her return for Champs vs. Pros after her disgusting acts on Dirty 30, among other actions. But anyway, the moment he goes home, he gets a movie deal. Also, all of a sudden, he hates bananas because what? He was closer with Wes? In both War of the Worlds seasons, Bananas was out early before he had any real chance of knowing the man, and you'd think Nani playing mediator, the two will be able to make peace. Not the case. Now, to season 38, let's look at this. First, there are a number of rookies to pick from. Second, Nani is known for relying on her friends and partners. Bananas, Leroy, Hunter, Zach, the Trinity, Casey, and of course, Turbo. I would put Josh in there, but yeah. Anyway, even so, she has more history with him, just like all the other ones previous, than the rookies. Third, she arrives late to the game. While she may know half of these people, she has very few alliances, given not being there on the first day. You could make the excuse of saying it was Bananas' idea, but as reliant as she is, I don't see Nani backing down to Bananas necessarily. And fourth, on that season, the rookies and those who would run with them showed unity, turned the game into a vets versus rookie game, and gladly threw the vets into elimination, therefore losing her Trinity pal, Kayla Casillas, whatever her new last name is, since she got married, in the process. And to sum it all up, of all people for her to go after, you pick your beloved son / best friend / psycho crush, Turbo, and even inquire about him going in, knowing you need every loyalist you can get your hands on in this game. Granted, during the interrogation, whether rigged or not, Kakraman was just plain rude. He knows how to conduct himself, he just chose not to. Then he is automatically sent in and against Rookies of the Year, Horacio and Olivia, possibly the next Turbo given Horacio's performance. But back to the first Turbo. His very first elimination challenge just happens to be a puzzle, which is an equalizer no matter what you do. A puzzle where outside help is very much appreciated. Season 35 with Wes and D, of all people.
An elimination that knows nothing about these challenges. But D has a secret weapon. And it's me. Okay, what's your first one?
Bloodlines, top part, X's.
X's is before bloodline. What the?
Season 37 with Ashley and Priscilla.
Red, purple, green, red, yellow. Red, purple, green, red, yellow. Red, purple, green, red, yellow. Red, purple, green, red, yellow.
A little bit of season 33 with certain people helping out Zach and Zahida.
No, that's it. It's further up. Trust me on this one. It's further up.
I'm so nervous. Zach is actually extremely smart, but everyone's screaming so many things at him, I think he's gonna get confused.
Oh, 1 minute. Turkey. Turbo! Where's Turkey? The brown right of Italy. Down, yes!
And now, season 38 with Turbo versus everyone. Love how cheating has been going on throughout the challenge for forever and a day, and when it finally happens to Turbo, we, the audience, the fans, all say something and say how unfair it was. That's how much we loved or did love Turbo. Given his outrageous attitude, everyone, and I mean everyone, the people watching this from Mars were helping to remove Turbo from the game because he was so exhausting. Even his beloved Nani Gonzalez even tried to help get rid of Turbo, and they succeeded, and the most respected challenger has suffered his very first loss on the very second episode. and not a moment too soon, for his arch nemesis was just about to enter the game himself. And while Turbo wished Nani well, it was immediately reversed back at reunion. Given his actions on Ride or Dies, the mere utterance of his name drained the energy out of everyone who ever heard it, viewers included. While my research on this subject is commendable, at the end of the day, it's all speculative. Whereas the testimony of people who actually were on the show carries a lot more weight, since they actually have the first-hand experience of Turbo. And in that, let's look at the testimony that I was able to rustle up. First, we have Devon, who was only on the show for at least 2 seasons before retiring, and then returning to Big Brother. Never mind the fact that she was on the show. Her testimony carries a little bit more weight because she technically quit the show after being eliminated, and she had less to lose testifying to Turbo's character.
Turbo. Just like Maddie had the girl shook, Turbo had the guy shook. Didn't speak a lick of damn English and had them all spooked. Turbo had all of them dudes spooked, and I loved it. You know, they were like, he gonna be a problem. We gonna have to get him out. And I'm just like, ooh, I can't wait to see what he do. Like, so I was really excited. Turbo was another one whose accent was very, very thick. But the one thing I loved about Turbo, he was very interested in learning English and learning English the correct way. So we would sit down and have these, like, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yes, Turbo's a good guy. Turbo's a good guy. Let me tell y'all this, though. I have to tell y'all this. This is what made me fall in love with Turbo, right? So one day we were in the gym, me and Turbo, and I'm like, Coach, I really need to train harder. Like, I gotta get more muscles in my arms and in my legs. Like, I have to get stronger. Like, I'm really, like, beating myself up in this moment, right? And so he was like, how do I say your skin without being disrespectful? Like, I'm not gonna mock his accent or anything like that or try to do his accent because I don't want to be disrespectful. But he was like, how do I say your skin without being disrespectful? I said, my skin. He said, yeah, like your skin. He said, can I say black? I said, what do you mean, like African American? He said, I can say African American and it's not disrespectful. He said, you're not offended. I said, no, go ahead, say African American. And so he goes, you're African American. You're already strong. I said, what you say, Turbo? I said, what you say about this chocolate? He was like, you're already African American, so you don't have to train hard. You don't have to do it's already in you. And I was like, wow. Like, I mean, do that, but for him to say it, like, and I'm just like, it came from nowhere, and I'm just like, wow. And he's like, I was like, who told you that, Turbo? Like, how do you know that? He was like, it's a fact in every sport, in everything. He said, all of the African Americans are the strongest. And I said, mother, you better damn preach now, damn it, about me and my melanin. I walked out the gym like, who won it? I'm black, I'm strong. Who won it? Anybody? What's happening? I'll outrun dust all y'all. As far as my first impression, when I saw him, I was like, wow, he's stacked. And then everybody was talking about how he was a Survivor winner. And I know Survivor is not easy. So I was just like, okay, he might make a really good ally. So I was definitely excited to get to know more about Turbo.
Next, we have Nerys, a partner of Nelson, who did not really get along with Turbo, but at the end of the day, had some experiences with Turbo, with him and knife throwing. While I personally find her testimony controversial, since she's clearly trying to make a career for herself in the challenge, getting with Johnny, who was the leader of the rookies, and getting out a veteran, and then trying to hook up with Jordan, who is clearly a threat in the game, a 3-time champion. We're focused on her experience with Turbo, and her experience with Turbo, which sounds almost manic, is still her testimony, and there's nothing contradicting that she did not see any of this.
All the bedrooms were like this, right, up against like a wall, and we all had big glass windows, and they were arguing outside by the gym that the moment you heard Turbo flipping the fuck out, we all ran to the window. Didn't matter what room you were in, everyone ran to a window, was like, what's going on? Like watching it, hearing the tea, because none of us wanted to be outside. First of all, we did not want to be around them arguing at all. But they started going off. I forget what they were saying, but that's when Turbo called Devin a pussy chicken level 3, and then Devin was like, "Well, I'm a pussy chicken level 3. That means you're a pussy chicken level 4." And then they started going back and forth. There was a time in the house where I'm literally, when I'm just giving you guys like stuff that they've cut out. Turbo was in the kitchen throwing knives at a cutting board. And mind you, he wasn't doing it like in a way to like make anyone feel uncomfortable, but naturally did, because we all share a kitchen together. And to have you throwing our kitchen knives at our kitchen cutting board while other people are in that room was kind of like a lot, you know? So we, like I said, that happened and we were like, what is good with this man? Why is he throwing, he's throwing like he's throwing stars like at the fucking cutting board. Like, then I tell you, there's a lot. There was a lot that was cut out. Trying to think of what else was going on. But I tell you, that shit was so funny. Pussy chicken level 3, yes, please. The Jordan T that you were going to talk about. Y'all keep asking me. I'm going to smack the shit out of y'all. I cannot talk about Jordan.
There's even Nani Gonzalez, who testifies how Turbo changed from one person to a completely different person on the second season, and how she prays to see the old Turbo from the first season once again, like we all do.
What about Turbo?
No, Jordan, do you still talk to him? You guys were partners.
Yeah, we were partners on War of the Worlds 1, and then War of the Worlds 2, he came in, and he was just a completely different person.
There were multiple times that you would suggest something, and he would literally say, no, I tell you. And I go, what?
Brainwashing you, and he would not believe me at all. And long story short, I hope that we get the Turbo from War of the Worlds 1, the goofy, the funny, the likable. Like, he was just a completely different person.
Anyway, back to Challenge production. The seasons after his dismissal were still hit and miss. And one major miss just happened to be season 37, Spies, Lies, and Allies. That season clearly meant to be the then future World Championships, a rough draft of it, hiring virtually everyone from every other country, Nigeria, Romania, Poland, Spain, and so on, but all the same, a failed attempt and a failed season. So as a matter of production and raising the ratings, they call in a favor and they bring in everyone's favorite challenger back, Tarabi Kakraman. However, his movie, be it failure or success, Turbo didn't really want to come back, but instead focus on his career. But given the pandemic, slowing everyone, a paycheck is a paycheck. So, meeting each other halfway, he comes back for a while, he leaves early, he gets paid, but everyone needs to want him gone in the first place. I would even go as far as say audience included. Everyone loves him, or loved him, from his first 2 seasons, so instead, he antagonizes everyone within distance, even his beloved Nani, where this is not anyone who really wants him around on the grounds of pure aura. Not one genuine clap or happiness to see him, less so with his outgoing message to everyone. If anything, his manners on the show may have hurt the show, and his chances of ever returning more than it helped either side, especially with the outside world and everything else going on prior. Also, acting or no, I don't see his attitude benefiting his career, movies or reality TV in the future, when they have not his attitude, but everyone's reception of it on record. So as much as we all kicked and screamed to have Turbo back, a lot of us might not stand by that any further. I personally believe it was all bunk, but Turbo's future now remains unknown. Will he ever come back to the challenge? This time with better intentions? Will he stay in Turkey as he builds his own media stunt empire? Will he ever make peace with Nani? What do you think will happen with his partner tomorrow? Unfortunately, only time will tell. And just as I'm about to finish this video, of course I get brand new information. I did some digging, and it turns out that Turbo had returned to Survivor. This time, All-Stars 2024. However, he did terribly, as it turns out that he was the 31st guy gone out of 35 contestants, meaning he was the 4th guy gone, and he only lasted about 35 days, which is amazing given that he won 2 back-to-back. He must have been that unbearable or that much of a threat. He did other television shows as well, because in the fall of 2024, Turbo also competed on a television program called Exultant Germany, which is more of like a parkour / relay race show.
And then Horacio was on like a show on Telemundo, which is like kind of like Ninja Warrior.
Excellent.
Excellent?
Yes, it's like a relay race,
Yeah.
pretty much. They just do a bunch of the obstacles, and it's like silly stuff like we do too, but you gotta be athletic and agile, so
And
he's gonna be
a soccer
tough.
player. Okay. And he's
A
young,
lot
and
of
I heard he has
agility.
abs.
But the important part that I want to mention is that he competed with the Challenge alumni Nam Vo, which is very interesting. We'll do a video on Nam Vo at a later time. And now it turns out that Turbo will be competing in a new Challenge All-Stars season called Challenge All-Stars Rivals with a partner. And this time he'll be working with his then partner, once again, Nani Gonzalez. And that's going to be a very interesting, also very awkward season for those two. Hopefully they'll be able to put their fallout, their business behind them. But from the look on Nani's face in this trailer and in this cover photo, it doesn't look like she's doing that. If anything, it looks like she's struggling to be Turbo's partner. And also, in a little bit of information, it seems that Devin Walker, level 2 P Chicken, will also be competing in the challenge. So now it's up to Turbo to put his money where his mouth is and say he was going to take them out like he said. But then again, maybe none of this will matter, because I checked earlier, did some digging, and it turns out that Tarabi Kakraman was hospitalized. Now, they don't say what he was hospitalized for, but whatever it was, it must have scared Kakraman, because from the tweet that he put out there, it seems that he may have turned over a new leaf, stating that he is not going to waste any more time. He's going to try to do better. He's going to try to marry his real wife. He's going to be on the lookout for her in the first place. And it seems that he hopefully, and that he's sorry that if he broke anyone's heart. Fellow Challenge castmate Theo Campbell and Wes Bergman reached out after hearing about his accident. But the one person who did not seem to reach out, at least based on the article, was Nani Gonzalez, which is very concerning, making me believe that this beef between them is so real and so toxic that she can't even wish him well, knowing that he was in the hospital, not knowing what, but still, after everything that she went through, you would think that she would be a bit more empathetic. And now he has returned, and even better, he came back to the challenge in a cowboy hat. The Turkish came to an American television program wearing an American cowboy hat, dressed like a particular challenge castmate that he cannot stand. I just find that tidbit very, very interesting. And as we all saw from this trailer, their beef clearly has reached a fever pitch, which is great for good television, is terrible for a friendship gone bad. But I hold out hope that things will be able to be made right in the end. I just want to say thank you for making to this video as far as you did. Thank you for listening to me. This is my very first video. My very first research video, and I just really want to try to make more of these, and I just really appreciate your support, and thank you for listening to this as long as you did. My next video on the challenge is going to be Casey versus Amber, and the question being, are they real champions? But if you would please help me out by just commenting on what I could do better, on how I can make these videos better, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, this is Seth Tot, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thank you.